Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Good morning, everyone, to those who are here in my office in Los Angeles in Temple Beth Am. Hello to those who are joining by Zoom. Let me just change this. Hello to those who might be watching on Facebook Live, either on my profile or on the Temple Beth Am page. And hello to anyone who's listening via the Temple Beth Am podcast series. The scene or the verse or actually the few words that I want to have as the anchor of our meditation this morning is one set of words that the scouts say when they come back to the desert after having scouted the land of Israel. This is Parshat Shlach Lecha. And if you know the story, that 10 of them come back with negative reports saying, we can't do this, we're terrified. And only 2, Joshua and Caleb, Yoshua and Caleb, say, no, we can handle this. And the language that the Torah puts into the mouths of the 10 scouts, is really interesting in terms of determining what they were really afraid of. One of the things that they say is that they were giants in that land. And then they say, Vanehi be'einenu kachagavim, we were in our own eyes compared to them like grasshoppers, right? So miniature, something that could just be stomped on. V'chein hayunu be'einehem, and we were also that way in their eyes. What you think about is an interesting thing to say, because what does that mean? Did we ask them? Were we presuming that they saw us as grasshoppers? Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kutsk, one of the great Hasidic masters, says they hadn't sinned until that second half of the line. It's one thing to say that we felt small compared to them. It's another thing to impute to them that they considered us to be small. Basically, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kutsk says, Mach bat lecha, like, what do you care what they think of you? The question is, what do you think of you? Now, on some level, that breaks down, because at some point, in actual real-life circumstances, you do need to know what other people think of you on some level. But deep down at the core, he was saying one of the transgressions of this moment was permitting another's impression of you to govern your sense of what you're capable of. Okay? Every one of us in this room, on the Zoom, who's listening to this, has people who think less of us than we deserve to be thought of. It's very hard to quiet that noise. The Kutsk Rebbe is saying is, if you don't quiet that noise, you'll never commit yourself to go conquer anything. You'll never go to the land of Israel. You'll just be stuck in the Midbar. You're stuck in the desert. That's part one. Part two, which we may or may not get to into the meditative place, because I don't like the meditations to be too idea-based, but I want there to be a frame. The other spiritual challenge, I think, in this verse is to ask ourselves honestly, who, when they are in our presence, feels like grasshoppers? Whom are we giants to, not in an impressive way, but in a way that makes other people feel small? And how do we hold ourselves in such a way that when they are in our presence, they actually feel like giants? Because that's a wonderful way to bestow something upon someone else. Okay, so that's the frame. I never know before I start this, exactly what I'm about to say, but I wanted to give you those pieces of Torah to kind of percolate in your mind, and we'll see where we actually go into the meditative place. So with that in mind, if you haven't already, I invite you in and down into a place of quiet, or mostly quiet. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Place your feet flat on the ground in front of you. Place your hands on your legs. And focus on the precision of the right angles in your body, which means you might need to adjust a bit. 90 degrees between your lower legs and your foot. 90 degrees between your lower legs and your upper legs. 90 degrees between your legs and your torso. 90 degrees where your elbow is allowing your hands to extend forward. And then seeing every line in your body as straight and true. And if it's not straight and true, make it so. Particularly your spine. Imagining a long line connecting your tailbone down to the ground, to the center of the earth. And an even longer line extending through the crown of your head, up to the heavens. As if your body is the connector between Shamayim Ba'aretz, the upper celestial realms, and the earthly ground. Try to push any sounds that you hear to the periphery of your consciousness. You don't have to swat them away. Just relegate them to something secondary, tertiary in this moment. Mostly the sound you should hear and focus on is either my voice, but you can push that to the edge as well. And hear the cavernous silence of your own mind. With any unwelcome or unbidden thought that comes up, considered and then released. Breathe your way into poised rest, where your body and your mind are very alert, very ready, very awake, and very much at ease and serene and untroubled. V'nahi be'einenu kachagavim. We felt in our own eyes like grasshoppers. V'chein hayinu be'eineihem. And we also were that way in their eyes. Who makes you feel small? Like a grasshopper. And why does it matter? And why do you care? Line up in your mind the 1, 3, or 5 faces that you conjure. When you think of someone in whose presence you might think that they think of you as small. Just send them away. Banish them from having property in the real estate of your mind. They do not get to determine how big you are, how you march forward, what you are able to accomplish and dream. You may have thoughts of self that toggle between grand and grandiose, and humble and self-doubting. That is a natural experience. But what they think of you, pay no attention, says the Gutzker Rebbe. Don't let anyone render you a grasshopper when you know that you have giant within you. And in the reverse, who might feel like a grasshopper in your eyes? Who, when they do this exercise, is thinking of you? What do you need to say or do? How do you need to posture so that in your presence, more people think of themselves as a giant, capable, grand, beautiful? Ready, if you'd like, you can open your eyes. I'll pull the closing meditation prayer up on the screen, and we can say that 3 times together, and then go our ways. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burning attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. I wish you all a shalom, namaste, Shabbat shalom, and remember that in my eyes, you're all giants. Bye, everybody.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.